Hello, everybody. We're still in the season of Lent, and I'd like us to continue to think about the Beatitudes. Remember, these are the blessings that lay the foundation for Jesus' transformative message known as the Sermon on the Mount. Let's remind ourselves that in Matthew's Gospel, it says that when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. Now, today's teaching that we're going to focus on is Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Jesus was speaking to a crowd of people who were accustomed to following strict rules and regulations to purify themselves and become right with God. Everything from what they ate to how they did business to when they rested was all laid down in the books of the law. However, in this one sentence, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God, Jesus turns everything upside down. He presents a new way of encountering God that isn't focused on outward actions or rule following. Instead, it's about examining the motivations and the attitudes of the secret inner place of the heart. Something we can all consider. I'm sure many of us will often try to prove ourselves good or worthy by what we do, or in comparison to what others do. Very often, we focus on our external actions. However, in Psalm 139, the writer says, "Search me, God, and know my heart." Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones writes, "The only way to have a pure heart is to realize that you have an impure heart." The Christian faith teaches me that I can be transformed from the inside out, but only with God's help. Perhaps a good place to start to think about Jesus' promise, blessed are the pure in heart, is in terms of our relationships. The messy reality of life is that things don't always go to plan. Relationships become fractured, even broken. The challenge when this happens is that Jesus doesn't just kindly suggest that it would be a good idea to fix them. He pushes us to go further. After Jesus delivers the Sermon on the Mount, he speaks to people about worship. And he says that if we're going to worship or meet with God, and then we remember that we have someone who has something against us, we must leave and go and be reconciled to that person, and only then come back to worship God. God's plan for humanity was always community, but Jesus commands community as a prerequisite of worshipping God. Our heart cannot be reconciled and made right with God unless it's reconciled with others. Now, I'm hoping that our hearts are in a good place today. But in a community of almost 2,000 adults and children, all sharing this space, there will be times in the coming weeks when we might find ourselves holding bitterness or negativity or unforgiveness towards others. And if not here, then perhaps in our families and our friendships. I pray that we might courageously step out in reconciliation. I hope that we might not only be reconciled to one another, but that we might be agents of change and creators of reconciliation in a fractured and hurting world. And then it might be said of every one of us, blessed are the pure in heart. Take care.